The day we replaced our dying phones. My wife laughed like nothing in the world could touch us. Then her thumbs moved like she was hiding a fire, and a new passcode clicked into place between us. We did it like a normal couple trying to pretend we weren't getting older. Mall parking, coffee in hand. 2 phones so tired they needed to be plugged in like patients. Claire teased me about my cracked screen. I teased her about the way her battery hit 10% and acted like it was a personal attack. Inside the store, everything was bright and clean and designed to make you feel behind. We stood shoulder to shoulder at the counter while a kid in a polo shirt talked us through plans like he was reading the weather. Claire leaned into me, laughing, warm and familiar. That was the thing, nothing about her felt distant. She was still Claire. Still the woman who forgot where she put her keys and kissed me in grocery aisles like she didn't care who saw. We sat at a little setup table after the purchase, both of us tapping through the same screens. Language, Wi-Fi, Face ID. Routine. Boring. Safe. Then I saw it. Not a message. Not a name. Just her posture. Claire's shoulders tightened the way they do when she's rushing to get out the door. Her face went blank. Not angry, not sad, just focused. Her thumbs moved fast, sharp, like she was punching in a code she didn't want anyone watching. I glanced over because that's what you do when you're side by side. Married people share space. She shifted the phone a few inches away without thinking. A small turn of the wrist that blocked my angle. Everything okay? I asked casual. Yeah, she said, still typing. Just setting it up. The screen flashed for half a second, create passcode. Then the dots filled in and disappeared. That hit me quick and quiet. Claire was the same code for everything person. She joked about it. I'd watched her punch it into ATMs, streaming apps, and the garage keypad. I could have said it in my sleep. I waited for her to say it out loud the way she always did. Same as always. She didn't. She tapped done and locked the screen like she'd finished a chore. Her smile came back like it had never left. You want food after this? She asked. Sure, I said. The word came out easy. My face stayed normal. Years of being a husband teaches you that not every thought needs a voice. But something in me had gone still. A new phone didn't matter. A new code shouldn't matter. But the speed did. The hiding did. The fact she didn't even realize she'd hidden it. We walked out with our bags swinging at our sides, and she slid her new phone into her purse like it was nothing. I told myself it was nothing, too. Still, as we crossed the mall floor with the noise and lights and people moving past us, that tiny change kept blinking in my head like a warning I couldn't explain and couldn't shut off. 10 days later, it was just dinner. Tuesday. Chicken in the oven. One of those quiet nights where the house feels like it's finally on your side. Claire wore sweatpants and one of my old shirts, hair up, face clean. If someone had asked me then, I would have said we were fine without even thinking. We ate at the table instead of the couch. Small talk. A stupid story from my day. Her laugh, real and easy. Then she set her fork down like she was setting down a pen. So, she said, I need to go to Denver this weekend. I didn't react fast. Not because I was shocked, because the tone was too normal. Came out the same way someone says they need more detergent. Denver, I repeated. Yeah, work thing. Melissa needs me there for a couple meetings. Just Friday to Sunday. Her boss, Melissa Grant. Middle-aged, sharp, always in motion. I'd met her twice. She'd shaken my hand like a business deal and called me Matt, like we were old friends. Okay, I said. What kind of meetings? Claire shrugged. Client stuff. Planning for Q1. You know, I nodded like I knew. I didn't, but I didn't press either. That's what trust looks like in real life. Letting details be fuzzy because you don't think they're weapons. Bring a jacket, I said. Denver gets cold. She smiled. I will. I forced myself to keep it light. Try not to get kidnapped by a ski instructor. Claire laughed, and for a second the knot in my chest loosened. Then my brain flicked back to the mall. Her thumbs, the new passcode, that tiny turn of her wrist. I watched her chew. I watched her eyes. Nothing nervous. No over-explaining. No cracks. That's what made it dangerous. If she'd been weird, I could have named it. If she'd stumbled, I could have grabbed the thread. But she was calm, normal, loving, like Denver was just another file on her desktop. "You want me to drive you to the airport?" I asked. "Maybe," she said. "If you're not slammed. I can make it work. Thanks." She reached across the table and touched my hand. Soft. "It's just work, Matt. Just work." That line landed like she'd practiced it. Not because it sounded fake, but because it sounded ready. Like she already knew what my face might do before it did it. I squeezed her fingers once. "Okay." And I meant it. I chose to mean it. Because a marriage can't survive if you interrogate every trip, every new password, every moment you don't fully understand. You either trust or you live in a cage you built yourself. So I filed Denver away as routine. But the passcode change stayed where it was quiet, blinking, patient. Like a tiny red light behind my eyes that didn't care what I wanted to believe. The morning of the trip, the house felt half asleep. I moved on autopilot: coffee, toast, keys, wallet. Claire was upstairs finishing her hair, suitcase by the door like it belonged there. The normal rhythm of a Friday. I grabbed a phone off the nightstand without looking. Same size, same case shape. Slid it into my pocket and walked downstairs. The coffee machine gurgled. I stared out the kitchen window, watching the sky lighten like it was doing me a favor. Then my pocket buzzed. I pulled the phone out, thumb already moving to dismiss it, until I saw the preview. "Rooms booked. You'll be there at 8, right? Miss you, Evan." My throat tightened like someone had grabbed it. For a second I just stood there, phone in my hand, coffee smell in my nose, like my body hadn't gotten the message yet. My brain tried to do math it didn't want to do. Evan. Not Melissa. Not a client. Not a coworker. A man. I tapped the screen to open it. Face ID didn't recognize me. I tried my passcode without thinking. Muscle memory. Wrong. I stared at the lock screen. Claire's wallpaper. A picture of the kids from last summer. Her phone. I wasn't supposed to be holding it. That was the first thought. Now she's cheating. This isn't mine. I shouldn't have gone further. I did anyway. The notification list was short, cleaned up like someone who manages their mess. But there it was again, another banner sliding in like it owned the place. Same spot as last time. Keep it simple. Evan. Last time. I felt cold spread through my chest, slow and heavy. I couldn't unlock it, but I didn't need to. The previews gave me enough. Hotel. Time. A casual confidence that didn't belong to an innocent conversation. Footsteps on the stairs. I killed the screen and stood there with the phone in my hand like it was evidence and a weapon at the same time. Claire came into the kitchen, bright and ready, like she was walking into a normal day. "Babe, have you seen my?" Her eyes landed on the phone, and the air changed. Her face did it in stages. First confusion, real quick. Then recognition. Then panic, sharp enough to slice the room in half. "My phone," she said, reaching for it too fast. That speed told me more than words ever could. I stepped back a half step, not dramatic, just enough to keep it in my space. I grabbed it by accident. Claire swallowed. "Okay, just give it to me." I didn't. I held it up, screen dark, like I was holding a question. "Who's Evan?" I asked. She blinked twice, like she could reset the moment if she tried hard enough. "What? You heard me. Matt, what are you talking about?" My voice stayed even. I hated how calm I sounded, like this was a billing issue. 2 messages. Hotel. 8 o'clock. Same spot as last time. Who is he? Her eyes flicked to the suitcase by the door, to the clock, to anything that wasn't my face. "Former coworker," she said, too quickly. I nodded once, slow. "Former coworker who says he misses you." Claire exhaled hard and tried to laugh, but it fell apart on the way out. "It's not like that." "Then explain it." She took a step toward me, palms out. "Matt, you're overreacting. He's someone from before." "Before what?" "Before me," she meant. She didn't want to say it because saying it gives it shape. "Before you," she finally admitted. "Okay? He's an ex. From years ago. It's stupid. My jaw tightened. And he knows the hotel name and the time. It's not. She stopped. Her mouth opened and closed like she couldn't find the clean lie fast enough. I watched the pause, that empty space between her words. Lies aren't just what you say. They're what you can't say without tripping. He's in Denver? I asked. Claire's eyes flashed. No. Then why is he booking a room? It's not a room for... She cut herself off again. Her throat worked. God, Matt. I can't believe you're doing this right now. Doing this, like I'd chosen it. Like I'd woken up and decided to sabotage my own life for entertainment. I'm not doing anything, I said. I picked up the wrong phone. Your boyfriend texted you. That's what happened. He's not my boyfriend. She said it too loud, too sharp, like volume could make it true. I held the phone out a little, not offering it, showing it. Then why is he that comfortable talking to you like this? Claire's eyes went wet, but the tears didn't fall. They hovered, ready to be used if needed. Matt, she said softer now, please, I'm going for work. Melissa is expecting me. You know that. I looked at her, really looked. She wasn't fighting for us. She was fighting to keep the story intact. And in that moment, something in me shifted quietly, permanently, like a door locking from the inside. I didn't yell. I didn't throw anything. I didn't do the dramatic thing people expect. I just set the rules for what came next. Call him, I said. Claire's head snapped up. What? Right now. In front of me. Put it on speaker. Cancel whatever this is. Her lips parted, then closed. She looked at the phone in my hand like it might bite. Matt, this is... If it's innocent, I said. It won't be hard. Silence. Not long. Just long enough. That pause was the last bit of denial dying. You don't hesitate to shut down an accident. You hesitate to shut down a plan. Claire reached out slowly this time. I need my phone. I handed it to her and watched her thumbs. The new code came out like muscle memory. Not a stumble. Not a mistake. Like she'd been using it a while. She pulled up his name. Evan. No last name. No context. Just a first name like he belonged in her life. She looked at me. What do you want me to say? The truth, I said. And make it final. Claire swallowed again. Then she called. It rang twice. Hey! A man's voice answered. Calm. Awake. Like he'd been waiting for it. Claire's shoulders stiffened. Evan, hi. I can't make it. A beat. What happened? I watched her face. She was choosing words like she was choosing which wire not to cut. Work changed, she said. Melissa reshuffled the schedule. It's not going to work tonight. On the other end, he didn't sound surprised. No confusion. No anger. Just adjustment. Okay, Evan said. So, tomorrow? Claire's eyes flicked to me. Fast. Then back to nothing. No, not tomorrow. I can't. It's just not a good idea. Another beat. Faint exhale. All right, we'll figure it out. We'll figure it out. Not sorry. I didn't know you were married. Not what are you talking about. Planning language. Normal language. Like this was a reschedule, not a shutdown. Claire forced a laugh that didn't belong to her. Yeah, sorry. Text me when you're settled, he said. Claire froze for half a second. No, she corrected quickly. I mean, no, I won't. I needed to cancel. He went quiet, then said, Got it. The call ended. Claire stared at the screen like she'd just finished a work meeting. Then she looked up at me and tried to move on too fast, like speed could erase what we'd both heard. See? She said. It's done. I didn't answer, because I hadn't watched two people end something. I'd watched two people adjust the schedule. She still went. That was the part that sat in my chest like metal. If it was really nothing, if the call really handled it, there was an easy fix. Don't get on the plane. Stay home. Put your hand on my face and let this die. Instead, she kissed me goodbye at the door like she was late for a dentist appointment. I'll call, she said. Okay, I said. I watched her roll the suitcase out. I watched her taillights disappear. Then I stood in the quiet house and realized I was holding my breath. The first video call came from the airport. Her face filled my screen, too bright under terminal lights. "Hi, just boarding," she said, turning the camera to show the gate sign. The people in line, her carry-on by her feet. Proof, offered before I asked. Then another from the hotel lobby. Another from a conference room with Melissa in the background. Melissa glancing over and waving like she'd been told to. "Hey, Matt," Melissa said, cheerful. "We're stealing your wife all weekend." Claire laughed like it was cute, like it was normal for your boss to appear on camera to validate your marriage. The calls kept coming. Breakfast buffet, elevator mirror, office building entrance. A quick pan of her hotel room, 2 beds, neat, clinical, like an inspection. She didn't say, "I'm sorry," not once. She acted like the fix was to show me enough angles until my suspicion got bored and left. And part of me wanted to let it work. I wanted my life back. I wanted to be the man who trusts his wife and sleeps without his mind chewing on code changes and hotel rooms and casual male voices. So I played along. "Looks busy," I'd say. "It is," she'd answer, and she'd smile too wide. Every time the screen went dark, the house felt colder. Not because she wasn't there, because I was turning into someone I didn't recognize. A man measuring love by evidence. A man counting the seconds in her pauses. A man who used to hear "work trip" and think nothing, now listening for the hidden door behind it. By Sunday night, when she came home smelling like hotel soap and airplane air, she hugged me hard like she'd passed a test. I hugged her back. But in the quiet space behind my eyes, something had rewired. Trust didn't feel like trust anymore. It felt like surveillance we both agreed to call rebuilding. Time did what it always does. Covered things up. We had 2 kids. A routine. Real laughter again. The kind that comes from shared exhaustion and dumb inside jokes. Denver turned into a sealed box we didn't open. Not because it was resolved, because opening it would have changed the whole house. Claire got better at being present. I got better at pretending I didn't remember the way Evan's voice sounded. And for a while, it worked. 3 years later, we were back at the mall doing the same thing all over again. Upgrading phones like we were erasing the past in small, shiny increments. We joked about being old again. We walked out with bags swinging at our sides again. That night, after bedtime stories and dishes and the quiet that comes when kids finally surrender, I sat on the couch and scrolled while Claire folded laundry. A notification popped up. Friend request. Evan. My thumb stopped midair. Felt stupid at first. Random. Harmless. Like someone brushing past you in a crowd. I clicked without thinking, and his profile loaded fast. Smiling photos, hiking shots, a couple work event pictures with those clean, confident captions men use when they like the way they look. Then I saw his face clearly, and my stomach dropped so hard it almost felt like relief, like my body had finally found the reason it never fully relaxed. His eyes, the shape of his grin, the way his cheeks pulled when he smiled. I didn't need to be a scientist. I didn't need math. I didn't even need more photos, because my oldest son's face lived in my head like a photograph. I saw it every day. That boy looked like me in the ways that mattered until suddenly he didn't. I scrolled back and forth, comparing without meaning to. Evan at a trailhead, sun on his face. My son was at the park last weekend, squinting into the light the same way. Evan with a half smirk. My kid's half smirk. Not close. Not maybe. Mirror. I felt my pulse in my ears. Behind me, Claire was humming softly, folding tiny shirts. The sound was normal, domestic, safe. I stared at the phone until the screen dimmed, then tapped it awake again like the truth might change if I blinked. Denver wasn't dust anymore. It was teeth, and it had just grabbed hold. I didn't sleep. I sat there with the phone in my hand, screen glowing low, Evan's face locked in place like an accusation. Claire moved around the living room folding laundry, calm as a Sunday morning, not noticing the air had changed. When she finally looked up, I was still sitting there. "What?" she asked, half-smile. "You look like you saw a ghost." I stood and walked to her without rushing. Slow is control. Slow is how you keep your voice from turning into something ugly. Come here, I said. Her smile faded. Matt, what's going? I held the phone out. Do you know who this is? Claire's eyes dropped to the screen. Her whole body went still. Not confused. Not curious. Not the way a person reacts to an old coworker or a random name. Still like a cornered animal. Why is he adding you? She whispered. I didn't answer that. I didn't let her steer it. I pointed at the photo again. Why does our son look like him? The room went quiet in a way I felt in my teeth. In the hallway, a toy made some soft electronic noise, then died. From the kids' room, a faint cough. Life continuing, unaware. Claire's face drained. Her mouth opened, but nothing came out. Her hand rose halfway, like she might touch my arm, then dropped. Matt, she said, and her voice broke on my name. That was the moment. Not the confession. Not a sentence. Just the sound of her failing to hold herself together. No, I said low. Don't start with that. Her eyes filled fast. Tears spilled and she didn't wipe them. She sank onto the edge of the couch like her legs quit on her. It was, she tried. Then she shook her head like she couldn't lie anymore. I didn't know, she choked out. I thought. I felt something rip through me, hot and cold at the same time. You thought? I repeated, barely recognizing my own voice. You let me raise him on a thought. She covered her face and sobbed, loud and messy. Not performative, not useful, just collapse. I stared at her and realized the betrayal wasn't a single act. It was the years after, the dinners, the birthdays, the photos on the wall. It was the life I defended, built on a story she knew might be a lie. And now that I'd said it out loud, I couldn't unsee it. Neither could she. I left on a Monday because Monday has rules. People go to work. Kids go to school. Life pretends it's stable. I needed that structure or I was going to snap in a way that would stain everything I still cared about. I packed a duffel in the dark. Jeans, shirts, toiletries, my laptop. No photo frames. No, I'll be back for the rest later. I wasn't trying to win a fight. I was trying to survive it with my dignity intact. Claire met me in the hallway, barefoot, eyes swollen like she hadn't slept. Matt, please, she said, quiet, like the kids might hear betrayal through drywall. I looked past her toward the bedrooms. My oldest was awake already, building something on the floor with that serious face he got when he wanted to do it right. My youngest was still asleep, curled around a stuffed animal like the world was safe. I'm not doing this in front of them, I said. So you're just leaving? Her voice climbed. That's it. I finally looked at her. Don't make it sound sudden. You've had years with the truth. I'm the one who just got introduced. Her mouth trembled. She reached for my arm. I stepped away. I'll take them Wednesday, I said. Text me the school pickup details. Matt, I said text. I walked out and didn't look back, because if I looked back I'd see the old version of my life standing there in her face. And I didn't trust myself not to try to save something that didn't deserve saving. The apartment I rented was small and plain on purpose. Beige walls, cheap blinds, a kitchen that smelled like nobody. It wasn't a home. It was a place where I could think without hearing her voice in the next room. I kept contact with Claire to the bare minimum. No phone calls, no processing, no late-night talks where she could cry and I could soften. Text only. Pick up Wednesday 3:10. Okay, he's asking for you. I'll see him Wednesday. Can we talk about ourselves? No. She tried to slip emotion through anyway. You're punishing me. I'm protecting the kids from the fallout. You're acting like I'm a monster. I'm acting like you made choices. It wasn't cruelty. It was boundaries. The kind you build when you learn love can be used like a knife. When Wednesday came, I stood outside the school like any other dad. Hands in my pockets. Calm face. Heart beating like it wanted out. My oldest ran toward me the second he saw me. Dad! He yelled. And he threw himself into my legs so hard I had to brace. That word hit me like a punch and a rescue at the same time. I crouched down and hugged him tight. He smelled like crayons and playground sweat and his own shampoo. Real life. The only part of this mess that wasn't poisoned. "Hey, buddy," I said. "How was school?" He looked up at me, serious now. "Mom cried." I held his gaze. "Adults have big feelings sometimes. But you're safe, okay?" He nodded like he was trying to be brave for me, and I hated Claire for putting him in that position. A kid shouldn't have to manage a parent's guilt. At my place, I made dinner. Simple. Pasta. Fruit. The kind of meal you make when your brain is a storm but your hands need a job. Later, when I tucked him in, he asked the question like he'd been carrying it all day. "Are you mad at Mom?" I sat on the edge of the bed, steady. "I'm mad at something that happened," I said. "But you don't have to carry that. You just have to be a kid." He stared at the ceiling for a second. "Are you still my dad?" My throat tightened. That was the whole thing right there in a child's voice. I put my hand on his chest, right over his small heartbeat. "Yeah," I said. "I'm your dad." He exhaled like he'd been holding his breath for weeks, then rolled onto his side and fell asleep fast. Like my answer had locked the world back into place. The paternity test came after that because the system doesn't care about feelings. Cares about categories. The clinic smelled like disinfectant and boredom. A nurse explained the process in a tone that said she'd seen this movie 1,000 times. Claire sat across from me, hands clenched, eyes red-rimmed, trying to look like she wasn't the reason we were there. I didn't speak to her unless I had to, not to punish, to keep myself clean. They swabbed their cheeks. Me, the kids, paperwork, signatures, dates. My name written in ink next to questions I never thought I'd see in my life. When the results came, it was in a plain envelope. No warning label, no apology, just a piece of paper that turned a family into a legal problem. Claire called me the minute she opened it. Her voice was wrecked. "Matt." "It's him," she whispered. I stared at my kitchen counter until it looked like it was tilting. "Okay," I said. That was all I gave her. Because if I opened my mouth wider, I'd give her rage, and rage would feel good for a second and poison me for a year. The court followed. Not one dramatic moment. Just a series of appointments that ate time and hope. Lawyers talked like this was a contract dispute. Words like support, custody, establishing paternity. The judge looked at me like I was another tired man in another tired story. Evan showed up late to one hearing, dressed well, hair perfect, face calm. The kind of calm that comes from not being the one who got blindsided. He didn't look at me much. When he did, it was brief, like I was an inconvenience, not a man who'd been raising his child. When the judge asked about involvement, Evan leaned into his microphone and said, "I'll comply with financial obligations." That was it. No interest. No fight for time. No, I want to meet him. Just money. A clean, sterile way to buy distance. Claire turned toward me outside the courthouse, eyes wet again. "At least he'll pay," she said, like she was offering a silver lining. I stared at her. "That's not a father," I said. "That's a bill." She flinched. "Matt, I never meant." "Stop," I said. My voice stayed low, controlled. "You don't get to talk about what you meant. You get to talk about what you did." She started crying, shoulders shaking, like tears could rewind time. I didn't comfort her. Comfort is earned. That night, alone in my apartment, I stood in the bathroom and looked at the toothbrushes. I kept extras for the kids. One blue, one green, because they liked having their own stuff at my place. Small things that told them this wasn't a temporary stop. I stared at the blue one and felt the world try to rewrite itself. Not biological, not legal, not mine by some cold definition written by strangers. I thought about walking away from that part, not disappearing like a coward, just stepping back into what was fair, letting the system draw the lines, letting biology take the wheel. Then Saturday came. My oldest ran into my apartment like it was home, dropped his backpack, and asked if we could make pancakes. My youngest crashed into my legs, laughing, and demanded a piggyback like I'd promised it yesterday. And I knew, with a clarity that didn't need debate, blood makes a child. Showing up makes a dad. So I kept showing up. I took both kids on my days. I stayed consistent. I answered school emails. I sat in tiny chairs at parent meetings. I learned which snacks were gross now and which bedtime story had to be read twice. Claire became logistics. Evan became a payment schedule. The kids stayed in my line in the sand. I wasn't Claire's husband anymore. I never would be again. That part of my life was finished, sealed, buried. But fatherhood? Fatherhood was the one thing she couldn't take from me, no matter what the paper said. And I rebuilt from there, quietly, stubbornly, like a man laying bricks in the dark, until my life had shape again. Not perfect, not fair, just solid.
Subscribe and stay one step ahead of cheaters. And trust me, the next story makes this one look like a fairy tale.